All right, so welcome back, my fellow Vault Hunters. Yes, we have a ton of Borderlands 4 news to go over today. We're going to be talking about some new replies from this time our Associate Creative Director of Borderlands 4, who's going to be replying about future rebalancing and could we potentially be seeing entirely new functionalities of abilities down the road. This is definitely an interesting discussion. Plus, we have some new replies about what should and should not be character specific versus shared throughout the entire account. This is definitely a very hot topic right now. And again, we have some replies from the dev team. Plus, we're going to be talking about, yes, any news about gun handling fixes and much more. And we're going to go over the open world itself. Are you guys impressed with the open world or not? Do you feel like it's kind of a chore? Yeah, we got an interesting take here about this one. Plus, we got to go over those recent Steam reviews because since the most recent update, things have been a little bit shaky for a lot of players. We have to dive into this one. And I'm going to go over your top comment. And get this, yes, a brand new shift code just dropped while I was in the middle of editing this video. So check it out. Here it is. And I'm going to throw this in the description for you down below. But yeah, we actually completed the weekend community challenge with 23.4 million second wins as Rafa. Hell yes, nicely done. That's what I'm talking about right there. So go get it, enter the ship code to get a really cool skin. That's what I say. We start from the very beginning and see what our associate game director, or creative director, I should say, had to say about this right here. So check it out. Here we go. It says, hey Grant, I was curious to know if future rebalances might be entirely new functionalities of abilities and whatnot. I'm currently on Vex after starting and getting Amon to 30, and there's definitely one key issue I had with Amon that the other Vault Hunters don't have. Now this is part 1 of 3. Stick with me here. All right, so here's part 2. Whilst every other Vault Hunter has gameplay changes to aspire to in their kit through capstones, all of Amon's capstones effectively range from a weaker version of Vex's passive element changing of skills to half an augment for half of his kit forge skill. Now, finally, he says this, I'm wondering if we might see Amon get a big pass to give him real capstones, or if Gearbox is happy where he is and simply believes he needs number tweaks. Great question here. And here's the response from Grant, our associate creative director, who says big changes aren't off the table, but would require more time. We have buffs coming for Amon that should excite Amon players coming real soon. So this is going to be happening very, very soon. In fact, as I recall, it should be happening sometime early this week. We'll find out if that lands and drops today or not. We'll have to wait and see. Cannot wait for those patch notes. But you know what? What is not off the table again is the fact that we could potentially see more in-depth changes to some of our current existing Vault Hunters. The biggest question is, for your favorite Vault Hunter, what would you like to see updated, buffed, changed, that sort of thing? This is definitely the time to sound off. Now, this is where the discussion gets very interesting because this is by far one of the hottest topics right now in the Borderlands 4 community. Check it out. Goliathan says this, anything in Borderlands 4 that isn't character specific should be account bound. We're talking about specializations, challenges, everything. A bit of feedback that I believe will increase engagement beyond the first character. And we got a response here from Grant who says this, specializations being per character was an intentional design choice. We believed players would not want to reduce the relevance of grinding on a new character akin to previous Borderlands titles. We believed it strongly that it was a point to announce at PAX. And we got a reply here from Goliathan who says, makes sense. I can see that design perspective. I believe there may be too much player friction there when making multiple characters, but then again, maybe not in the long haul. Iteration on feature sets like this feels like a given down the road. Do you guys agree with that? Now, Grant did follow up saying this, we juggle between quality of life improvements and not diminishing the achievements of a player. When a player grinds a Vault Hunter specializations to a high level, that's a statement, but I understand the want and we may need to revisit what's quality of life and what's meaningful. So this is definitely very much an ongoing, in progress discussion, obviously over at Gearbox. I'm kind of curious to see where this leads, of course, but ultimately, I think it is up to the community how vocal you guys are, if you are wanting this sort of thing to change or not. So, yeah, let me know if you guys say, hey, keep it as is, don't mess with it, I like it, or do you think this definitely needs to be updated? Now, we also have another reply here about this issue. Check it out right here. Jim Raven says this: in theory, this is good, but in practice, this basically is punishing us for trying other characters or even starting new characters of the same class for whatever reason that may be. Think of Borderlands 1's proficiencies and then of any in-game system. The difference is that Borderlands 1 system had clear and easy, somewhat, to reach maximum. The rest are going forever. Thus, my point of it being punishing instead of rewarding. A response here from Grant, who says, I hear ya, the game is still relatively young, and we're gathering all the feedback. What I can say now is that we're listening and we plan on supporting the game with more content, more ways to earn things, and more fun things to earn. And I am also hearing mentioning that they are going to be further adding content, that a lot of you guys are really wanting more core in-game content. That currently the in-game feels a bit underwhelming, or even more so than just a bit. You guys want this in-game to be absolutely fully fleshed out than just beyond like doing side missions and that sort of thing. Let me know what you guys would like to see added to the in-game, by the way. But things get even more interesting about specializations, because it seems like Gearbox had another plan for them before maybe they changed up some things during development. Check it out right here. It says, see, but on their website, when they first detailed it before launch, they said Borderlands 4's specialization system is a streamlined way to steadily and continuously increase the power of your character's account-wide just by playing. And slotting your specialization sockets will provide noticeable spikes to your power level over time, though you're always free to leave sockets empty or respec specialization points entirely if you're looking for more of a challenge on a new character after countless hours of leveling up. Now, the account-wide statement and the mentioning of respecing all your points out to play a new character without the buffs makes me think this was a change late in development since they didn't update their website. Interesting. So, if that is true, they've had that system in place beforehand, and it might actually be somewhat easy, perhaps, to revert back to it if it is, in fact, the case that it was like the original system, that it was supposed to be account-wide. So maybe, just maybe, there is hope that this could happen in more of the immediate future. Again, that's going to be up to the dev team, and of course, that's me speculating, but we will have to wait and see. But I think that is good news that we do at least have that information right there. Now, also, we have some replies from our creative director, Graham Timmons here. Let's get into what was said out on Twitter, shall we? So check it out. Any news about a fix to the gun handling bug? And Graham Timmons says this: it's been fixed in a future patch. Lots of places, gear and skills contribute to gun handling. Had to check them all. So yes, that is going to be seeing an update, which is really cool. And we also have this one right here. Deco 4 is impossible to obtain for your first character. Maurice's Echo log is the final one. It is given to you if you start as a level 30 character. You guys may want to fix this or look into it. Now, Graham did reply saying noted. Pretty sure I have an idea what might have happened here. So good news if you've had problems with that one. That is also going to be addressed down the road here. And in the next thread, we have a new reply here from Graham Timmons. Stick with me. Of course, it starts out by saying, are we going to see a fix for the filter inventory, how it never switches out of manufacturer, or is this just how it is? Now, you guys may remember that this has been addressed for a future patch. There's no timeline on that, but it is going to be coming down the road. Here's the new stuff. So there's a similar issue with the map legend. I hide all the collectibles on the map, but every time I load up the game, it's back to everything showing again. Nothing major, but would save a little bit of hassle each time. And the reply here from Graham saying, I'll add it to my list, but admittedly, this would be low on the priority list compared to some other quality of life we're eyeing. Never say never, though, and all. So, yeah, they have a lot on this quality of life improvement list. But what major things make the top of that list for you guys? Let me know in the comments below. And then we got to talk about the open world itself. Some people feel like it feels a bit tedious, leaning more into Ubisoft territory than anything else. So check it out. Does anyone else feel the open world mechanics are extremely tedious? I have a few issues with it, about 35 hours in. So check it out. Just want to say I love the game. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just not interested in how 85% of the map is collectible items. Feels like I'm playing a Ubisoft game at times. Do you guys agree? I'm also trying to explore in the nature of an open world game. I find a cool area, and it turns out it's clearly meant for a future mission, and I cannot progress. I've now wasted about 15 minutes of killing some enemies and running around for the sake of it. It just doesn't flow how I'd like for it to flow. At this point, I kind of want to get straight into the action. Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. I'm 35 hours in, and seems a chore to go around to collect so much stuff. My last nitpick is I don't have too much incentive to play side quests knowing the rewards are so lackluster. Unique items make side quests very fun as you pick up some gear associated with the quest, and they mostly had unique effects. Now I don't feel incentivized to even pick these quests up, which is a shame. Now, I wanted to pause there and mention that I really wished that honestly some of these side quests had like maybe even legendaries attached to them. It seems like bosses really currently replaying them over and over again are the ones that offer the best drops right now in the game. But it would be very cool if they could somehow have side quests also offer some really worthy legendaries for sure. I think that would be very, very cool. And maybe somehow randomize some of the enemies or something in some of these side quests. So each time you play, it feels a little bit different. Maybe a side quest that you play over and over again takes you to different areas. I don't know. I know that's asking for a lot, but yeah, I personally really love narrative-driven stuff, and I hope that maybe in the future they could evolve this sort of thing. But yeah, how are you guys currently feeling about the open world? And this post basically wraps up saying that he's just feeling frustrated that doesn't have the desire to actually like explore the open world, and it feels like it's just a checklist of things, much like a Ubisoft game. All right, now next up, we have this one right here. Check it out. It says, new player here. Why do some legendaries yellow text playing what the gun does and others don't? This is very much a Borderlands thing. And give some examples here. Of course, you could see the yellow text giving exactly what this gun does. And then this is going to say, of course, propagation, and it doesn't really give too much information. It's kind of like a mystery. That's part of the fun of it. Now, we have some replies here. Hidden tooltips on some legendary items is kind of a Borderlands tradition. The red text on the card usually hints at what it means does. I usually have to look them up online, though. The ballista, though, I know spawns additional bullets in a spiral pattern as it travels from using it. And there's a ton of replies here, as you can see. But the big question is, do you guys like this system, this very Borderlands-y type way of communicating to the player? Or do you think it needs to be more concise, just absolutely letting you know what a legendary does? Now, we got to head on over to the most recent negative Steam reviews because, yeah, after that most recent major update, things have been kind of all over the place for Borderlands 4, especially with its performance. Now, I myself, yes, I have experienced a lot more jitters than normal after the update. It's been such a bummer, and I'm really hoping that Gearbox opens up about this one and, you know, basically talks to the community. But check it out right here. We have not recommended after updating the game to supposedly fix the terrible performance. The game now stutters, struggles to load, and frames drop to about 75 frames per second, down to 5 to 10 at random moments. The game is now no longer enjoyable to play, which is a shame. Fix this. And we also have the game runs worse after today's update. Don't know how they managed to pull this one off. The game was running fine now. Constant stuttering Gearbox CEO is to blame. But anyway, yeah, hopefully we get some updates about some sort of performance patch. Hotfix is absolutely needed for this one big time. All right, so let's get into your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up in a future video. So let's do this. See what you guys had to say. So check it out. First one is, Cash seems to be a perfect fit for my all-time favorite Borderlands build. No idea what his skill tree looks like, but I just have a feeling that I'm going to be running Jacob's rifles and revolvers for some big, juicy crits. I cannot wait to play as this new Vault Hunter. It is going to be absolutely badass. Now, someone also did mention that we do have some new shift codes here. Check it out here. Shift codes expire in 41 hours from this post. They're probably already expired by now, but I am going to post them here just in case. Some miracle you catch it in time, but again, we'll see. But we also have the next comment, which is this right here. Cash, chance and probability equals 1% crit chance. The knife. Let's go, baby. Yeah, that knife. They said they're not going to touch it yet. You know, they don't plan on nerfing anything just yet, but we'll see what happens. And we have this right here. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I feel like they're trying to listen to the player base again. Can't wait to see some cash gameplay. I absolutely cannot wait to see that. That's going to be badass. And we also have this right here. Cash. So like related to flak. Interesting theories right there. And we got some replies saying this. It would be cool having something tie into it since they are super powerful bots, and or zero. And you can see people would be excited by this prospect. So yeah, maybe just maybe that could possibly happen. But yeah, there it is. The latest happenings around Borderlands 4. Stay tuned here for more news and updates. As always, I have you guys covered, and I will see you all next time. Take care.